Okay, so there are lots of milestones in our lives, and this is one chapter in our lives that most of us will definitely encounter, right? Robin is amazing how he looks upon each and every one of us and knows each and every one of us personally, even more than we know ourselves. Okay, and at the end of the day, I know Robin has created us in his image and likeness, and has given us a spirit of to be his children. Not only that, he has given us, so we are the temples of the Holy Spirit. It's very important to know that we are his children. He loves us so much, and at the same time, we are what? The temples of what? We are the temples of the Holy Spirit. And there, I'll be speaking to you today about dating, Tabanyani. It is something that's always been on the minds of lots of kids, even lots of youth, especially in engagement, in confession. You find this young man, Tabanyani, in his high school days, and he says to me, Abuna, look, I'm in love. What is love? He said to me, well, look, I'm interested in a girl, okay, and we seem to connect with each other. I said, okay, tell me more. I'd rather listen than talk, and then I won't see him again. So it's and then he'll start to say to me, look, Abuna, we are from the same school, or from the same university, or the same college, and we were sort of like it's like love at first sight sort of thing. He says to me, and then I asked him, what is love at first sight? He said, Abuna, look, she just looked at me, or I looked at her, and we just connected, and all of a sudden, khalas, yani, the chemistry started to happen, and and we're exchanging words, exchanging messages, and basically from there, I said to him, look, it's important to remember, especially when you come in to get to know a girl, or a girl getting to know a guy. To open the door of any relationship, there are five important pillars. Five important pillars in this, okay? And the first one is physical, spiritual, academic, financial, and emotional. The first is physical, not physically bodily, physically mature, and the way he thinks, and from a Christian perspective, and the way she thinks from a Christian perspective is so important. The mature mind thinks as a godly mind, and that's very important. So the first thing is physically mature, able to make decisions, wise decisions. Secondly, spiritual. Why spiritual? It's important that Rabbina is involved in this particular chapter in your life. Why spiritual, Tabanyani? It's important that we have a confession father, we regularly attend the services of the church, and most importantly, we have this beautiful relationship that Rabbina started with us, continually thriving and growing, so we can see God working in our lives. The third one is academic. At the end of the day, you've got your tests, you've got your assignments, you've got your projects, and all this stuff. That requires a lot of work. And then the third thing is financial. The fourth thing is financial. With every relationship, it needs what? What does it? It means what? It needs falus. And you don't go and buy her a gift from the $2 shop, mate. She wouldn't want to see you after that. Okay, but you know what? Forever this is the problem here. Financial. And the last thing is emotional. Differentiate between love and lust. Okay, so if you're going to talk to me about relationship, I said, look, the first thing is I want 5 important pillars. First is physical, not bodily, but be able to differentiate what is right and what is wrong, what is godly, what is ungodly, what is accepted before God, what is not accepted before God. The second thing is what? It was, remember, it was what? Spiritual. My living relationship, Marabina. Third thing is academic. I need not to overlook this as a priority. I need to work on it so I can complete whatever whatever is required of me. The fourth thing is financial. Any relationship needs constant money. So obviously you're going to take her out to, the odd restaurant or hagazakida, or buy him a gift. And the last thing is differentiating between what is love and lust. Now, if these are here, then I'd say, okay, now we're in the right what's the word? We're starting right. Okay. Now, if, for example, and often this is what happens. Okay, often you'll find a various number of kids, they're quite wise, and the spirituality is there. But then what happens now is, because they've gone and started this relationship, or started to date with their partner, then obviously I need to start buying gifts. For me to start buying gifts, I need to sacrifice one of these. And the first thing is when you get double time and a half on a Sunday, more money, I'll start to sacrifice what? My relationship, my Abuna. On a Sunday, I'll go and pray during the day, during the week, and then Sunday, if I'm connected to Shemusia or connected to service, I can do without that. You can't do that. And then what will happen then is, not only that, then you'll start to affect your academic life, right? Don't worry about me continuing on in my academic life. Let me focus on the providing money so I can fulfill the requirements of this relationship. So, as I said before, the 5 pillars are so important. Okay. Now, another thing also is what we have to understand is Rabina is watching, and Rabina is at the moment looking on how I approach the opposite sex. And it's important for me to know that before I start taking the first step, I really need to bend my knees down and pray before the Lord. We've got this beautiful, as you guys have got overseas, the beautiful Igbeya. I love the last page there. It's called the prayer of guidance. It's called praying for God's guidance before making a decision. Praying for God's guidance before what? Before making any decision in any way. If you're looking for a job, buying a house, buying a car, going into a relationship, I highly recommend this prayer. And if I could just quickly read it for you, it says, Lord, you're aware that I do not know what is good for me. And now that I'm about to start and there's a dotted line, okay, we're dating. I love this particular girl. She's beautiful. When I see her, she just makes me want to move the world faster. So then, but how can I know if it is right, Lord? I'm submitting to Rabbina. How can I know if it's right? Unless you guide me with your grace, okay? Unless you guide me, I beseech you, I beg you, O Lord. I beg you to guide me in this matter. I beg you to what? Guide me in this matter. Do not let me follow my own tendencies, lest I will be confused and fall. Keep me from slipping and help me, and let it be according to your will. If you see it fit, grant me the blessing to complete it. If not, remove this desire from my heart. You know all things. Nothing is concealed from you. I'm your servant. Deal with me as you see fit. I have neither success nor peace unless I submit myself to your grace and will. Teach me to say in every occasion, Lord, let it be according to your will, not according to what? Not according to mine. The prayer of guidance is an amazing way of asking God for his guidance. And that's so important. So the first point I'd like to say is, in this situation, Rabbina needs to be the one who is before you at all times. Okay? It's like, see, I have to put these glasses on now. See these glasses, right? We leave these glasses. This is Rabbina. I want to see everything through what? The eyes of who? The eyes of Christ. Because when I see everything through the eyes of Christ and do things through in accordance to my Christian morals and principles, I'm not going to go wrong. I'm not going to go wrong. I might fail a bit, but then I'll quickly come back in line. Why is it important to proceed on in this fashion? Is because I can only see things at a certain distance, but then Rabbeinu can see things beyond the horizon. And so Rabbeinu includes people like who, my confession father, he's your coach, okay? It's important to be able to get him involved in this step in your life, right? And get his advice. I'm not for saying, look, you got to say this. I always say to my kids in confessions, I say, listen, when you're ready, I'll give you some nice restaurants you can go and take it to, or take it to, طبعا العزومة على الأولاد, not the عزومة على البنات. No, it's not the invitation from the girls. It has to be invitation from what? From the guys. طبعا. And I said, look, I'll give you some idea where you can take, nice restaurants here and there. And then, you know what? I'll give you a few words, one-liners. Have you heard of one-liners before? And a few one-liners that hit the heart straight away, because طبعا they compromise the purity. And then they start laughing. So that's important. So your confession father is your coach. Your confession father is a person that will be there to guide you through this stage, okay? And it's important to be able to get him involved, but at the same time, Abuna needs to understand, he needs to give him and her the freedom to be able to move, but at the same time, not hesitate in making decisions, but at the same time, get his advice. Am I ready? Am I ready for dating? And look, as I said before, it's the 5 pillars, and that's what I say to them first. Sometimes I do find that kids will go about doing things their own way, and then they say, look, what happened? So, well, my marks are starting to fall, in school or we're talking about here in youth, we're talking about university. I'm starting to want to find that service is a burden on my shoulder. I can't do this. At 6 o'clock in the morning, right, to go to the gym and pump up some weight so you can impress the person in front of you, right? But when it comes to preparing yourself for liturgy, that's another workout too. You know what I mean? There's a physical workout and there's a spiritual workout. Okay, but when it comes to the physical workout, we tend to be more inclined towards that because it's external, it's physical, and we want to impress people with what our looks are. It's important to understand in any relationship, let it not be superficial. It has to be something. I'll give you an example, guys. Okay, right? There are a lot of nice girls out there. A lot of nice girls. Okay, and some guy will say to me, she's beautiful. She's got her hair's beautiful, blue eyes, body shape, physique, 10 out of 10, perfect. And then I said to him, okay, that's all. That's important. That external appeal is very important. But you're not going to deal with the body, external body. You're going to deal with the heart, right? What use is it to have a person who's 10 out of 10, right? She's going to deal with you from her heart. So it's important for us to know that when I walk into first and foremost, I need to seek who? Rabbeinu. Secondly, I need to pray with bent knees and pray the prayer of guidance. Lord, is this the time for me or not? Thirdly, speak to your confession father and get his guidance. Parents are amazing. Look, it's so important to be able to talk to your mum or talk to your dad and get their advice. What are your thoughts about this, mum? What are your thoughts about that? Sometimes you can be closer to your dad or closer to your mum, but at the end of the day, it's important to be able to get and have them in that picture. Because if they're not in the picture and you end up taking your girl out to dinner or to lunch, you're going to find that mum's going to ask you, where were you? And it's like, I went out to the library because I was studying for my examination. Mum, I'm so fixated in my academic life. Yeah, the results. By then what happens, it's one deception after another, one lie after another, and then you sit for the exam and you're totally demolished. You're demolished. You didn't demolish the exam. The exam demolished you. And then the results come out. What did you get, Ebony? About 20%. So what happened? I was living a total lie. No. In a situation like this, it's important to take the right steps positively, right? And holding close to Rabbeinu, to my confession father, getting the advice from my parents, or even a close friend at church. It's important. And then finally proceeding on. What is the right age for this? يعني this could probably be, we can probably answer this in some of the questions, but they usually do say that the right age would be in the early 20s to start what's the word, start to date or start a relationship. The best time usually is around about 24 years old. يعني Abuna انت يعني لا انت the reason why I say this is why, because look, I want to experience Robina. I want to experience you know, completing my academic life, you know, and it requires a lot of effort, you know, a lot of effort to complete my academic. And then I want to start working. I want to be able to work. I want to start working and getting income so I can, look at investing in a home or investing in a car or going on a trip. With COVID, we can't move anywhere, right? So it's a moment to be able to save more money for something in the future. And then finally, you know, look, attend more of the meetings within your own church, you know, with youth meetings and all that stuff. A lot of opportunities where you can probably look from a distance but don't touch. Look from a distance but don't touch. And I even say that to an engaged couple, you know, even if their marriage is next week, I say still you don't own each other until the hand of God comes upon both of you, right? You are two people walking side by side. See the gap? That gap is so important. I'm getting to know someone. How many times do you come across many people, whether it be in church, whether it be at uni, whether it be in society, and you're getting like you've got that, you know, there's that communication, the verbal communication, we're communicating my bad. Whenever we talk with each other, we feel, we're comfortable with each other, and that's all part of that's all part of life. You know, you're going to come across a person, you're going to be attracted to them on the way they think, the way they serve, the way they go and live their life from day to day basis. Okay, and then if it's God's will, then Rabina will get you closer. And then through the guidance of your church and your confession father, Rabbi Heberi. My only concern was when this so-called modern dating is try before you buy. Okay, at the end of the day, my friends, purity is the most important thing, and holding close to your Christian morals and principles. Don't be swayed by what all the peer pressure around you. Look, everyone's got a girlfriend, everyone's got a guy friend, you know. Don't be swayed by that. Don't be pressured by that. Okay, it all come in time. In the book of Ecclesiastics, there's a time for everything under the sun. There's a time for everything under the sun. And when the time is right, you'll know it. You'll know it, and you'll see it. We're very lucky to be a part of a beautiful church that nurtures us not only spiritually, but in every aspect of our lives. But it's amazing how the church has youth meetings, and look, you know, we encourage constantly the camps. We encourage constantly the going out for dinner together as a group, right? And look, I to be honest with you, like, it's such a beautiful platform to work from, you know, and to see someone from a distance and to admire the person's beauty from within. It's important for that, because that's what you're going to be dealing with. You're not going to be dealing. External appearance is important, but what's more important is what's coming out of the heart. That's what you're going to be dealing with. All right. And that's just one last thing before we go into the questions, just quickly, is that there's going to be a time where you are going to get close to a particular person, but there's nothing wrong with that. But just at the same time, it's important to do things in the proper way without compromising your purity and compromising who you are, because it's a chemistry. When two people come together, it's, I have to say this, it's a beautiful chemistry, but then Satan can take it in a different way. Like Amba Musa one time, they said to him, Sayyidina, this is Amba Musa, this is a bishop from Egypt, right? And And he said to him, Sayyidina, are you against dating? Are you against relationships? He said, no, look, there's nothing wrong with having girlfriends and boyfriends. We're talking about a bishop here from Egypt. Girlfriends and boyfriends. He pressed on the word, the last letter S. Why? Because there's nothing wrong with having female friends and male friends. The only issue is when you knock the last letter off on the S, if you're not what? If you're not ready. But then they said to him, Sayyidina, we're going to do things the right way, Sayyidina, we're going to be La habibi, la. At first هتكون angels with what flapping wings كده, right? Angelic with the halo on your head كده, كل حاجة تمام. وبعدين when you're thinking a certain way and when you are in a certain area or in an atmosphere, then things can happen very, very quickly. And طبعا there's these one-liners that the guys may say, like, yeah, Habibti, I just love the way you flick your hair to the right like this. Like I love the way how you flick your hair to the right, and Habibti, you have to understand what you say to the girl, this echoes in her mind, echoes in her heart. You could have said that to her, only out of pure intentions, but at the same time, she may take it and say, wow, this is like Metageticus on his horse, or like he's a knight in shining armor. He's embraced me with these words. It's important to understand that what comes out of the mouth has to be balanced, weighed, because it can affect someone in a positive way and it can affect someone in a negative way. Okay. I think we'll just finish here, and then we'll just open the floor for questions. Okay.
Thank you so much, Abuna. Really appreciate it. Lovely talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And just let you know as well, we also have Abuna Race on the call.
Abuna.
Abuna races are.
خبر يديك ابونا سوريال ازاي
Abuna, خبر يديك Abuna Ruiz. Abuna, what am I doing talking to you there, Father?
انا ما حبيتش اعمل بس ازعاج لقدسك، فقلت ادخل بعد قدسك ما تبدا عشان اسيب قدسك في راحتك.
ابونا قدسك انا خدنا بركه سمعنا صوت قدسك ابونا.
ربنا شكرا على محبتك يا ابونا وتعبك، ربنا يخليك.
مفيش تعب. ثانك يو ابونا، ربنا يحافظ على قدسك ويبارك خدمه قدسك والشعب قدسك كده ناخد بركه.
تعيش يا ابونا، ربنا ما تنساش في صلاتك، ربنا يخليك يا ابونا سوريال.
We need your prayers, Father.
تعيش، ربنا يخليك. مارك اتفضل اسئله.
Thank you, Abuna. So in terms of the questions, we have a few, Abuna, and I've gotten a few anonymous ones as well during your talk. So we'll try and get through them as quickly as we can, or as much as we can today. In terms of who will say them, can I please ask people randomly according to alphabetics? Okay, so we can all participate. So please have ready to unmute your microphone. Andrew, would you mind calling people names out according to alphabetical? Sorry, I'm just trying to organize the screen share. So part one is questions relating to Christian dating.
Can we start with Amy?
How do you think Christian dating has changed in this day and age compared to a decade or two ago?
Look, it has changed. Basically, I think people are more free to make. They make decisions more upon themselves. I'm finding with some of our youth within the church, they're starting to take things. They're starting to make decisions on their own, or starting to accept the whole spirit of dating without reflecting back to Rabbina and to their confession father. And look, not this is just the minority, but look, at the end of the day, obviously we do have the external pressures, of the internet and all this stuff that we're surrounded by it today, that more or less like direct people in wanting to make their own decisions than referring to Rabbina. There are some slight changes, but at the end of the day, I think our faith is based on Rabbina, and our want to be with Rabbina and wanting to seek his guidance through this is something that we all desire and look for. I'm finding that the ones that do take this step without referring to Abuna are the ones that often continue in a wholesome relationship at the end of the day. So to answer your question, there has been some changes, and I think changes are due to the fact that there has been more freedom. We've moved the boundaries, or we're starting to compromise a lot more. And at the same time, I think we're more influenced on people who surround us. Uni is another area where people tend to expand on or experiment by seeing examples of many other people that are doing things in a different way. That's. I want to please Yanni, what's Kenny, if you could add on or even answer this question, Father.
لا احنا عايزين نسمع قدسك ابونا سوريال. انا معاهم على طول، فاخد بركه قدسك، ربنا يخليك.
Thank you, Father.
Okay, I'm not sure who CK's phone is, but can you tell us the next question, please?
Are we more lenient to compare to before, and are we likely to be even more lenient in the future as to what is acceptable and what is unacceptable?
I don't think we have amazing youth within our churches, you know, and the church is alive and strong, and it's always building the hearts of its children on how to deal with future steps like this in their lives. Taban, I think it all boils down to our relationship with Abuna, and if our relationship with Abuna is sound, then I think we'll always revert back to the old-fashioned way of doing things in a godly manner and in a pure manner. And I'm thinking that the minute I start to move away from Abuna and his church, and especially my confession father also, I think we start to make decisions on our own, and then unfortunately it's all hit and miss, and the tolerance of making mistakes is a lot higher. Sometimes we learn the hard way, but when we learn the hard way, then we come back to Abuna. So yeah, it all depends on my relationship with Abuna. As I said before, it's important that we don't go into it on our own. We need to really seek God through this stage in my life, and at the same time seek the advice of my confession father. And also, as I said before, the Igbeya, the prayer of guidance, is so important, so important.
Okay, Emmanuel, please.
What does the church believe about dating people who are not Coptic?
Look, Emmanuel, I think you're going to find a lot of young people are starting to get to know people who are non-Copts, okay? And we as a church are embracing quite a few relationships like this, okay? There's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, I have to understand what is my priority here. Remember that when you're entering into a relationship, you want to be able to be with someone who thinks like you, who has some similar, or has to have the same morals and principles as you, as Christian morals and principles. Is so important, okay? And at the same time, I think it's important to know that don't rush into it. Don't rush into this relationship. It needs prayer. It needs constant guidance through your confession, Father. And the other thing is also, to be honest with you, get the person to come to get to know who your friends are. Like, even especially at church, there's nothing wrong with inviting someone to your youth meeting, your local youth meeting, and getting to know who your church is and who your family is. You know, it's important, right? Maybe Rabin has allowed that person to come into your life, you know, and you know they end up experiencing Rabina through you, experiencing your church through you, experiencing your faith through you, right? But just bear in mind that look, this I've seen relationships before where a Copt gets to know another Copt and then it turns out to be a disaster. But then I've seen another relationship where a guy gets to know this beautiful Catholic girl, you know, and he gets to know her, and look, as I said before, if their beliefs are the same, and at the same time there's a Christian background, it makes it a lot easier for that person to move on to the next stage. Look, I've got to know some. Going to the third question. Look, I have to share with you that there was a married couple. There is a married couple here in Australia. She's from Irish background, okay. And to be honest with you, ever since you just see her, she's got white hair and she looks, you know, like, you know, so like this so white, and she said, "Well, I'm more Coptic than him." Right, when she went through all the stages, you know, baptism and all that stuff, and then she ended up, yeah, and she's so active. God bless her, she's active within the church. She says, I'm more Coptic than him, and it was true. And it's amazing. So, I think when you get to know someone outside the Coptic Church, there are other challenges that you need to face with. There's the cultural challenges, there is the spiritual challenges, and there is the social challenges. Okay, so I think the closer you are to home, the less these challenges become, as you know, the tolerance of becomes a lot less. Okay, I hope I answered the question, Yoni. I'm not ruling it out. But at the same time, do your homework, and then please prioritize what you're looking for in that person. Rabina is the foundation. And then everything else after that.
Abuna, just to mention, the questions are completely anonymous. We've sent them all a survey beforehand. And
Yes.
So the people that we're asking are just random through the alphabet.
Sure.
Gina, can you take the next one, please?
What are the physical or affectionate boundaries during dating stage, engagement stage, for example, holding hands or not?
Okay, look, I think it's important to have there's to be a distance between both of you. I'm not saying to walk on opposite sides of the road, okay? What I'm just saying is that, remember this, if there's any physical contact, then there is something else that will come after that, okay? Look, you know, the holding of hands is not a problem at all, but then anything after that, then that tends to move to something else. And as I said before, I think we have to understand that we are two people coming towards walk together side by side, okay? But there is that gap between me. And when there's that gap between us, then I know that then I won't end up falling into the physical and weaknesses, okay? As we know, one kiss can lead to something else. I think the whole point of getting to know someone, whether it be in dating, whether it be engagement, is you're still getting to know that person, how he thinks and how he speaks, how he appears before people. It's very important to ask lots of questions. Don't be limited to this relationship on the physical side. Okay, it's important to know who you're dealing with, and how they're thinking up here, and how they're living their lives is so important, right? You know, one guy may say to a girl, "Kiss me," you know, and if you don't kiss me, then you don't love me. I says, mate, girls don't fall in for this rubbish. To be honest with you, at the end of the day, you get to know someone from a distance, and at the same time, physical contact. The less of that, the better, because it all depends on how I am at the moment. if I am thinking a certain way, I've just had a really tough day during the day, and you know, one thing would lead to after another. If I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, things can work very, very quickly. And it's important that as two people come together, is try as much as you can, you know, and that's my advice is before you meet that person, say a prayer before you go. Lord, allow me to, you know, I've just came across this in the morning prayer absolution. Okay, I'd just like to read it just quickly. And I'm sorry to take too much of your time, but the absolution prayer at the end of the day says, it says here, therefore we ask you, O King, may your light shine upon us, may you lighten us with your light, divine knowledge, make us children of light, children of daytime, that we may complete this day in righteousness and purity and good order, and complete the rest of our life without any blame. This is the beautiful absolution in the morning prayer. Something small like that, you're asking, Lord, please, what? Allow me to feel your will in my life, and let me take the steps that you want me to take without compromising my relationship with you. Okay? Yep. Holding hands.
Karma.
Holding hands is not a problem, that's fine, but when it comes to anything else, I think that's an issue. Okay?
How
Yes.
do you know?
Yes.
How do you know if someone is worth dating compatibly before formal steps?
Okay, I think it's important to be able to list down, that you need to have like a checklist, to be honest with you, right? And as I said before, it's important to see what's in the heart more than what's how that person appears externally. The problem being is here that when you're attracted physically, then that can blind you without you even knowing. Look at certain qualities you're looking for in that person. Okay, look and look. There's lots of great examples. You don't have to look too far. Even at church today, a lot of great examples. You know, like there are potentials, right? And I have to give you an example. My wife, Val, God bless her. I like. We were serving together for years, and I just loved the way I loved her relationship, with Abuna. Like I saw that as we prayed liturgies together. You know, I love the way she deals with people and how she goes about helping others. I love the way how conservative she was. You know, even her dress sense was amazing. You know, so I think it's important to be able to put a checklist of what you're looking for in a person. Okay, and sometimes even as guys, you know, guys always, like for example, you use your mum as an example. You know what I mean? Like there are lots of qualities in mum that you want to see in your future partner, also, and vice versa. Girls, lots of qualities you see in your dad that you'd like to see in your future partner. Don't run. Take small steps, but every step take it with Christ and pray about it, and then I'm sure Rabbi will guide you through it. Okay.
Kiro Deep. Okay.
Sorry.
Are you there?
Yep, sorry. The next question, it says, is it wrong to online date?
No, it's not wrong. It depends on what online dating sites you're on. I know there are some online dating sites for Copts. You know, it's important to look. I've seen it in the past. There are some of our kids here in Australia that got to know people in England and in the UK and America, right? And it's a platform where we can communicate by all means with each other. My only concern is sometimes, you know, like the fear is communicating with someone that you don't know much about. Do your homework, right? Obviously with Facebook these days, that if you get to know someone, then obviously that person, Facebook page, you get to know who that person's friends are, you get to know a bit more about academically what they're doing, you know what I mean? And look, even to the point where even Abuna can help out, you know, ask questions. Which church are you from? You know, are you part of, you know, and then Abuna can make his own inquiries for you also, in you know, behind the scenes, yeah, just to get you a bit more of an understanding who this person is. Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. Where is it wrong? Only when we go into the wrong dating sites. Secondly, has it worked in the past? Yes, it has worked in the past, and God bless. We've got beautiful couples that are married now, and they've got kids. Yeah, it's amazing. I was just on an hour before we got on this meeting. I was a part of the first time a Zoom engagement between a girl here in Australia and a guy in Canada. Okay, so I've never experienced that in the past, but they got to know each other through online dating.
Kiro, there's another Kiro there.
If you're already dating in a relationship but are not yet financially stable, are you supposed to end it?
Okay, if you're already dating in a relationship but are not yet financially stable, are you supposed to end it? Look, it's hard. As I said before, there are 5 important pillars: physical, spiritual, academic, financial, emotional. If all these pillars are all there, then things are going to be a lot easier for you to proceed on with this relationship. Financial stability, look, I think just having a job is important, to be able to support the family, you know, but support this relationship. I'm not asking you to end it. I'm asking you to probably just slow down a bit, okay, and basically take the steps that will help you meet up with the right standard of financial support that you require. At the end of the day, my friends, Yani, look, and I'll tell you, as a father, okay, I have a daughter. If someone asks my daughter's hand, the first question I'm going to look at is obviously who he is and what's his spiritual background, all this stuff. But also, are you working? You know, that's important. At the end of the day, I'm not going to put my daughter in the hands of a guy that doesn't have a job and is not financially stable. I want her to be put in the hands of a person who is better than I am. Okay, I'm not asking for something that's really high. You know, I'm asking for something that's going to make sure she's going to be living a stable, comfortable life. Okay. So if you're already dating someone, maybe just slow down a bit and refocus on what's required of you to get you up to that standard of financial stability. And at the end of the day, my friends, last thing is, at the end of the day, it is important, but then it depends on how old you are, depends on where you are at life, right? She could be working, right? And she can probably sustain the relationship, but then often sometimes I feel themselves as they want to be the breadwinners. Times have changed. At the end of the day, times have changed. She could be earning more money than you, right? But that's not a problem with that. At the end of the day, it's not my money or your money. It's when we put that's not a priority. But we put our resources together and we move on to the next stage in life. Maybe you just need maybe you're working and studying at the same time, you know. And she could be accepting of that. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Yeah. So don't end the relationship. Don't end it, but probably need to review it. Slow down and review it. Yeah.
Una, part 2 is questions relating to relationships in general. Are you okay for us to continue, or do you want us to?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Mariam Ged. Mariam, are you there? Okay, let's go to Mark Georgie.
What should I do if I'm interested in someone who's already in a relationship?
Look, this is adultery. At the end of the day, this person, look, we're talking about a relationship. If that person is already in a relationship, then who am I to go in and break something between two people? Okay. I'd say steer clear away from this. Okay. It's important that you do that because you don't want to make hazardous or haphazard decisions on moving towards breaking two people up. At the end of the day, look, if someone is in a relationship, just say that person, I'm assuming that person's in marriage. If that person's in a marriage, then, and I'm starting to get to know a person who is in marriage now, you have to completely move yourself away from this because that could destroy, even though she could be the one that's saying to you, I'm going through a hard time. No, don't go anywhere near this. It's important for you to stay where you are, keep at a distance. If a person is engaged and getting to know someone, it's important for both people to be, for you to know that, well, you need to know that this person's getting to know that other person, and let me not be the one that's the cause of them breaking up. Look, at the end of the day, just don't rush into it. Don't rush into things like that, right? Because it has a lot of consequences behind it. Keep at a distance is so important. Okay, like, is that the only fish in the ocean? There are many other fish in the ocean. Shit. Go fishing somewhere else. Sorry. Sorry, I have to say that. Go fishing somewhere else.
Okay, we're just gonna skip Mary because she mentioned that her microphone is off. So let's go to Michael Hatta.
Abuna, we may not need to answer this question, so I think you already spoke about this. Up to you. It says, how do you know when you're ready to be in a relationship? I think you've already spoken about this, and we also spoke about it last week. Do you want us to skip it, or do you want to?
Let's skip it. Skip it. Yeah.
Should I read this one in?
Yeah.
Is it normal to have doubts about being in a relationship?
Look, that's common. Okay, that's common for that to happen. Okay, because sometimes doubts could be caused when we start to. Well, look, I just came across some of these beautiful points here on the internet. It says, "Be true to yourself." Okay, be faithful at all times. Be true to what? Be true to yourself. Be faithful at all times. Okay, and be open to the friendship by developing it into something bigger. Okay, so, and to be honest with you, like, if you're going to go into a relationship, what are you going in there for? Are you going in there for, forgive me for saying this, one night stand, or is it just you want to just have her like your handbag or whatever it may be, or it's just nice having a guy next to me? No, you need to have a bigger picture. You need to know where you're going, what steps you're going to take tomorrow. Okay, because at the end of the day, you're not dealing with something that's material. You're dealing with a human being. Okay. You could be the cause of someone really losing focus on their life. It's important to know that if you're going into something like this, you need to be what? You need to be true to yourself. You need to be faithful. You need to be realistic and honest about your intentions, okay? And at the same time, you need to have guidance. Yes, there are times there are doubts. If there are doubts, often I say doubt is caused by lack of faith. Okay, for example, like I'm going to give you an example. Right, is that it all depends also on your relationship with Abuna. If your relationship with Abuna is there, and when you increase in your prayers, your faith increases. Your doubt starts to what? Decrease. When you increase in your prayers, your faith starts to what? Increase in Abuna and those around you. When you decrease in your prayers, your doubt starts to increase, and you start to doubt people around you. Very important. And the other thing is also just quickly in a relationship, if you're going to start doubting the girl, starting to get doubting the guy, you know, in a day that's just going to create instability in this relationship. You know, and it's a cause of arguments. Okay, so look, ask yourself the question: why am I going in? Is it something long term? Yeah, I'm looking at a long term relationship, right? Yes, I want to do things the right way. Yes, I know it's not, we're not going to be. We're not. There's no such thing as two perfect partners, right? They often say everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses, right? But I have to understand: am I going to be able to? I thank God for the strengths, but am I able to live with these certain weaknesses? I have to ask myself that. Put everything on top of the table, in front of you. Put everything in front of you, and ask yourself the question: am I able to live with the fact that when I go out with him, forgive me for saying this, one eye is on me and another eye is on another girl. Sorry, but you have to know that this is a clear indication that he's not fully committed to you, right? And I'll give you an example of that. Is that, you know, when you're getting to know someone, right, your eyes should be focused on each other, right, through Christ. But then if you're sort of like still shopping around, then you're not ready, mate. End it. Sorry, you're not ready for it. Okay? Let تعذب البنت, let تعذب الولد. No, you have to be serious about this. It's important. Yeah.
Next question, MK.
Sorry, Abuna, just to mention, we can't see you anymore. I'm not sure if your video is
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Can you see me now?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Abuna.
Yes.
Okay, not sure if MK is there, so we're just gonna go to Monica.
How do you think relationships have changed in this day and age compared to a decade or two ago?
Well, relationships have changed. I think I have to say that we're a lot of pressure on young people these days to be able to keep up with the Joneses and all this stuff. And Facebook is the biggest issue, to be honest with you. Facebook is the biggest issue. You know, like sometimes we compare ourselves to other people and compare ourselves with what they've got, you know, and sometimes we tend to desire what that person has, you know, whether it be a car, there be any materials gain. So obviously for me to get that, I need to work harder, and then I need to sacrifice time or a bit of time with family, and even sometimes I don't even have time to see her as a person. And there's a saying in Arabic, my primary language is English. At the end of the day, if you're going to go into a relationship, don't make promises you can't keep, because he or she are going to quote you on that later on. But you said, we were going to do this. La hawla. Just be yourself. Don't be someone you're not. Be yourself. Don't be someone you're not. And that's the best thing. That's the best. The best thing that we can be ourselves. Be yourself, man. Right? And it's important. It's a lot less headache. But when you start to be someone you're not, and you start to be, live this extravagant life that you can't maintain, right? And it's going to put pressure on you and pressure on those around you, right? And it'll start to compromise on who you are and what you've been brought up to be. That's all. Yeah, definitely there are pressures, but then at the same time, as I said, as long as Rabini is my focus, Rabini is my priority in my life, then everything will be fine. Okay, everything will be. You don't have to worry.
Okay, we'll go to Phoebe next.
What ways can you show affection in a relationship?
I think it's important to know there are always limits to that. Okay, I need to draw the line, right? As I said before, there is a gap between both of you. Okay, the physical, there should be zero physical contact with that person. Okay, look, you may hold the hand, you may slip the kiss on the cheek, but then you have to understand that one thing would lead to another. What's more important is spending time together, at the right places, at the right time. And most importantly is, Yani, don't always talk about yourself, please. Yani. Don't always talk about yourself. Yani, it's always nice to see the other person. Like, for example, like, notice something. Like, if a guy goes out with her, your hair looks beautiful today. That's nice. If it's done, if it's said from a pure intention. I love the dress you're wearing today. It's beautiful. Edison and the girls will say, "What perfume you got on?" That's really nice. These are important things for us to exchange with each other, but it shouldn't compromise my purity. Now, for example, also, I just love the way you talk. Whenever I hear your voice, it brings a lot of comfort to my heart. So affection can be done without contact, but then at the same time, it's important that even exchange of SMSs and WhatsApp groups and all that stuff, sometimes you have to be on your guard. Yeah, all the time you have to be on your guard. Look, I don't want you to be live on the edge, but you have to be on your guard, making sure that I don't compromise who I am in my relationship with Robin. Right? Yes. Look, I want to get to know her. I want to get to know him. Do things from a Christian perspective. Do things in a godly manner. We used to wear that band around the wrist that says WWJD. What would Jesus do? It's always refer back to Christ. How? And you know what? It's important that before you meet that person on a dinner or whatever it may be, pray about it. Say a prayer. Yeah, she calls you on the phone. Make the sign of the cross over the phone. It's important to do that. Introduce Rabina into the conversation, into the meeting, before you take that next step. Okay, and it's important to be able to express your feelings to that person. It's important. Affection could be in a way where you buy that person a gift. Just don't buy them something haphazard. Put some thought into it. She said, "Look, I love Kit Kat." You know what I mean? And look, you're going to end up going, what, a little box of Kit Kat, kiddo, whatever it may be. That could have been a conversation you had with her, 5 weeks ago. But you remembered. What's really more important is not the fact that you're given a Kit Kat, is that you actually remembered what she said to you. I love this, I love that. As a kid, the flowers are amazing sometimes, It's important to give, right? But don't overdo it. Don't overgive. Do everything in proportion, in moderation. Okay? Yes. And by the way, with affection also, sometimes they say, Arabic was Ya Habib Albi, Amarayoni, and all this stuff, right? We often hear in the beginning stages, this is all great, and then after marriage it stops. La Habibillah, you need to continue. You know what I mean, right? You don't say you love me anymore. No, the girl needs to hear that. It's so important. Yeah.
Pierre, can you say the next one, please? Okay, we'll go to the next one, Rosa.
How do I express my willingness to be in a relationship without seeming desperate?
Okay, being desperate is an issue, to be honest with you. Sometimes we see our friends, getting married or engaged left, right, and center, and I'm the only one that's left, not in a relationship. It's important not to settle. I don't want you to settle in a relationship, because that can be a problem later on. Desperation is an issue because you start to become someone you're not. And as I said before, it's important to be yourself. Be yourself, okay? You're going to often get advice from people around you, wanting to change who you are. Look, at the end of the day, if you're getting to know, if you want to present yourself to someone, just the best thing to do is just be yourself, because you don't want to be seen any different later on, okay? Look, we have this over 25s meeting at church, you know, and the most common thing we hear is, "Hey, why are you inviting me to a meeting where it's just another matchmaking platform?" I said, "My friends, you know, the church is there to cater for you spiritually and cater for you in all aspects of your life. You know, come enjoy the spiritual contact. Come and enjoy the fellowship with your brothers and sisters who are of that same age in life, you know, and at the same time, be yourself, you know, and don't be someone you're not." The minute the guy, well, yeah, when you're desperate, to be honest with you, actually you're going to turn that person off, to be honest with you. And guys, forgive me for saying that, guys do get turned off when a girl is just, she's in his face all the time. You've got to learn how to give each other space, okay? And when you give each other space, it gives you time to pray, gives you time to think, gives you time to take on that next step. So sometimes even relationships, probably first time relationship, it's very overwhelming, you know what I mean? Like someone, I'm living my personal life now, someone has stepped into my life and getting to know, you know, sometimes it's hard for a person to open and to share their thoughts and their feelings and emotions to the person. So space is important, okay? Space, giving each other space is important. And at the end of the day, look, what's more important is the feeling of desperation is a problem that could lead to later on where that person will no longer won't want to be with you, right? And forgive me, look, there sometimes a relationship where the girl gets to a stage in life where she wants to settle down, but then he's not interested. He's not interested at all in continuing on this relationship. He uses her like whenever he feels that, you know, he needs a bit of company. My friends, don't let people use you, okay? Don't let people use you. You're bought with a price. You're so valued in the eyes of God. You guys are like you are bought with the blood of Christ. You are not just any person. You're the prince, or you're the princess of the Son of the living God. Okay, and Abuna will guide you through that stage in life. You're bought with a value. Sorry, is there any other questions?
Abuna, just an offshoot from that question before you move on to the next one. I know, and you mentioned the over 25s meetings. I know there's lots of girls who are over 25 or feel that they're getting old and they're getting a lot of pressure from home, from their mum and dad, bring home a partner, bring home a aris, you know, and that kind of, it gets in on your head. Do you know, how would they deal with that, you know?
Abuna, would love to hear your voice. Abuna's English, I'm sure, is better than mine.
انا ما المشكله يا ابونا سوريال، انا الانجليزي بتاعي ضعيف، فمش
لا
عارف
أبونا،
اتكلم. صدقني بجد مش اتضاع، صدقني بجد. فعشان كده هيكون احسن. مش كل الولاد يعرفوا، انا هاف انجلش هاف عربي، فمش كلهم كده، كتير منهم ما بيعرفوش غير انجليزي. فعشان كده فعلا انا مبسوط ان قدسك اللي بتكلموا بصراحه عشان يقدروا يستوعبوا. لان الموضوع ده كمان مهم، ان احنا كلمناهم، كنا انا وابونا بولس كرهبان، انما قدسك ككام متزوج دي هتفرق معاهم كتير. وانا فرحان ان قدسك برضو من الحاجات المهمه ان هم حسوا الباوندريز ما اختلفتش من الرهبان للكهنه للاباء المتزوجين. حاسس ان احنا كلنا خايفين عليهم، وان احنا مش عايزين ان حد يبقى في مشكله او يتضر من حاجه في المستقبل يعني.
لا، كتر خيرك.
ربنا يكرمك. شكرا لمحبتك. اتفضل قدسك، معلش حلمني.
Mary, just repeat the question again. What was, sorry?
I was just asking, how would young people or people who feel pressure from home, do you know, when are you going to bring home someone, when are you going to get married, especially once they graduate and have a job, the pressure at home seems to be quite intense and it gets in on them. So that's, how would they deal with that?
Oh, look, look, I've come across this in the past where, yes, it becomes a bit annoying at times where every time a guy goes home and mum says to him, what about, you know, this person, this girl, you know what I mean? She's beautiful, you know, why don't you ask her out and all that stuff? You know, look, it's important to know that it's done out of love, okay? It's done out of love. I was just, that's the first important. It's done out of what? Out of love. Secondly, end of the day, at the end of the day, they just want to see you enter in this stage in life and to settle down and to see someone who's compatible to you, to be able to live that rest of life with you, you know, and share the same experiences that they share, that they lived through in their own lives. Don't avoid your family, okay? Don't avoid them, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes it happens with young people that, look, it's the same story again. I go and sit down for dinner. She's going to talk about marriage. She's going to talk about, I was speaking to Tante Fawzia today, and she's got this beautiful girl, the beautiful guy, a great guy. It's always going to happen. You know, I got married at the age of 30, 34, 35, okay? And I was getting that from my parents. You know, go to reception, you sit in the reception, get up, darling, yalla, what about this particular? It's never gonna end. But then, look beyond that. It's done out of love, okay? And sometimes, you know what? Don't always say no. Don't always say no. If someone suggests someone to you, don't say no, right? Sometimes we always, if someone quotes you a name, right? First thing we're going to go to is going to see on Facebook, you know, and then don't close the door without firstly praying about it. Secondly, ask questions about that person. Do you know this particular person? How does it feel? Right? And sometimes, look, there are arranged marriages. Some of them do work, but the majority of them don't work. At the end of the day, I always tell the parents, say, listen, you can advise them, okay? You can suggest to them, but at the end of the day, don't make decisions for them, because you're not going to live with them in the house, right? But at the end of the day, the guy's going to say, you're the one that brought this problem for me when you insisted that I get married to this person, insisted to get married to this. No. Parents need to know that there is always a line that's khalas kida. They're mature. They're going to get to a stage now where they need to make a decision. Okay, look, these are the qualities you look for in your future partner. That's it. And then the person has to what? Be proactive and take the next step. Look, I know that we forever we do have a shortage of males in some in areas and shortage of females in areas, and we'd love to see more interaction between the youth in Australia and in the UK and Scotland and Ireland. We'd love to see more interaction there, and I think, as I said before, sometimes we get consumed in our own world, that time ticks so quickly that it's not a priority. It is a priority, but at the same time, don't leave it to the last minute. You know what I mean? Don't leave it to the last minute. It's important to be actively involved within your church, actively involved within the different camps that are created. You know, and look, Abuna's in the different suburbs. They organise activities amongst youth. There's lots of youth that get to know each other through camps. Look, even in focus groups, to be honest, we've got a focus group at university that are really active, you know. Thank God for that. Abuna Matthew's doing an amazing job here in Australia, in Sydney, where the focus groups are open to all people from Christian denominations. And it's amazing how you get, you know, the Indian Orthodox, the Serbian Orthodox, the Catholics, and yeah, you get a couple of Protestants here and there and all that stuff. And they come under the umbrella of what the church, under the umbrella of the Orthodox umbrella. And then it's amazing how people get to know each other through these different forums. Okay, so don't leave it to the last minute. And to be honest with you, I'll refer back to this beautiful book, The Egbeya, The Prayer of Guidance. Lord, now that you know I'm looking for my partner in life, I'll need your guidance in this. Okay, prayer is the key. Secondly, Robina says, meet me halfway. You got to do something physically. You got to. There's no use in you not seeing that as being a priority. You need to take the physical steps. You know, being a part of these groups who are of the same thinking as you are. And the pressure is there, obviously, at home. But then, at the end of the day, it's all done out of love. They're just saying, that's all. That's all they want to do. They just want to see you settle down with the right person at the right time and experience what they've gone through. That's in life.
SR, can you read the next question, please? Okay, Sandra, can you go?
Is there such a thing as the one, or is it just settling for someone?
Look, there are times where through life's experiences, you tend to appreciate one particular person within your circle of friends, you know, and then things become a lot more evident when you spend more time with each other as in a group, you know, and you're able to see that person from on the way he thinks, the way she thinks, and the way they live their lives. But then, yeah, sometimes it does work out that way. It's amazing how, as I said before, and I have to say this to you, like these Coptic online dating forums, are quite. There are a lot of success stories from that, you know. And it's amazing how Rabina can connect someone who's on the opposite side of the world to someone on the other side of the world and bring these two people together, and there you have your family. There's still a church that's being made together, yeah. Yes. But then settling for someone, I don't really, that could have some problems later on. Look, I do find that there are some people that do settle, but yes, they are living in a relationship, they're married, but some of them are not, what's the word? They're not happy, okay? I'd rather see someone, I don't really want to see someone who's living an unhappy life or just settling for someone for the sake of settling, because I've seen in the past where the girl is a churchgoer, he's not a churchgoer, she's compromised a lot on certain qualities that he, certain problems that he's faced with. It could be a smoker, it could be a drinker, or, and look, and I'll give you an example, like she could be part of the church services and all that stuff. He's also a Coptic, but there's no relationship between him and Robina. That becomes a problem. That becomes a problem because when it comes to going to church and living a godly life, that isn't seen as a priority in the person's life. So settling, I need you to be cautious of that. I don't want you to settle. Unless if you are that type of person that's strong and you're able to, look, I can face some of these challenges and we can work through it. Look, I have to tell you this, and it's important to know this, that the person you marry will only is the same before, during, and after marriage. They may change slightly, but not much. Okay? They may change what? Slightly, but what? Not much. Okay? But then again, sometimes we look for he has to be perfect in all areas. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes there are a lot of good qualities, and sometimes there are some weaknesses that you don't really want to see in that person. Look, who knows? Maybe that person can change later on, right? But then again, as I said, you're having a father to guide you through this is so important, right? When it comes to the stage where you guys are ready to be a bit more committed, sit with your father in confession, right? And get the spiritual wisdom to see you through this relationship. Don't ever enter a relationship without having a father to guide you through it, okay? Because sometimes sometimes when Abuna sits with her, he can indirectly direct him without exposing what he spoke to her about or what he spoke to him about. Okay. Right.
Okay. And no more questions. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. And thank you so much, Abuna, for answering the questions. Sorry, Abuna, there was a lot of questions. We actually have one more anonymous one that was sent during your talk. If you don't mind, Abuna, is okay if I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the question was, when is the right time to tell our parents or Abuna about the relationship?
I think at the first stages, Abuna should be involved, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, with confession, right, you not only go for confession, but you also go for some spiritual guidance, okay? You know, and there's nothing wrong with telling Abuna, to be honest with you, because Abuna's your coach, you know, he's just not any other person, he's not any ordinary person, he's your coach, right? What do you reckon? Look, I get to know this. Get to know this girl. You know, it's okay. Tell me more about her. Okay, and then the guy will give Abuna some information. This is what I'm seeing in her. But then Abuna will give him some guidance on. Oh, look, I need you to ask these questions to her. How does it feel? Parents can come a bit later on. Okay, but then where it becomes an issue is where if you find yourself after work or after uni coming home an hour late and mum says to you, where were you? And you start to answer, say, mum, you know, I got caught up with a late lecture. That's a lie. So don't start your relationship on that foot. Always be truthful, always be transparent, right? And that's what I'm saying is that when you guys get to know someone, get to know them in a group, you know, like, you know, in the youth meeting, in camps, in focus groups, in universities, whatever it may be. When you guys go together as a group, then at least that way you're getting to know each other in a group. And then there's going to come a time where, look, yeah, as I said before, the 5 pillars, physical, spiritual, academic, financial, emotional, are all there. If they're all there, then you shouldn't have a problem with taking the next step of talking to your parents about it. Look, and there are a lot of parents that are quite open-minded because at the end of the day, they'd rather have their child be open and honest with them than to discover the fact that they're doing things behind their backs. You know, and that's why I think it's so important as a church to educate parents. You know, that we need to be more open-minded. We need to be more in communication with our kids. You know what I mean? And don't get overly what's the word consumed by the importance of working and providing shelter. How does it get? Sometimes people say to me, look, I'm the one. The dad says to me, I've got no time to sit with him, man. You know, I've got no time to sit with my son. I said, man, that's the mistake. You're providing that shelter for your son or your daughter. You've got to make time to sit with them. You know what I mean? And have a one-on-one conversation, you know? And sometimes we fear approaching parents because we think that they're going to prejudge us or they're going to terminate the relationship or how goes the kid. Look, if you're doing the right thing, my friend, you've got nothing to worry about, okay? Right? You're doing the right thing in accordance to the teachings of the church and, doing things in the right Christian morals and principles. You've got nothing to worry about. You have nothing to worry about, okay? The issue is when you start to compromise on your beliefs, compromise on your purity, and that starts to create arguments and problems between you and those whom you love. Abuna is the one that needs to be, and Abuna has his finger on the pulse killer, okay? Anything that changes, introduce it to your father in confession, okay? Anything. That's so important because it's really nice to have someone that's going to keep what we speak about in confession, and he's going to guide me spiritually, and at the same time, he's going to give me the space to move, right? He's going to give me the freedom to move, but at the same time, I just need to know that I'm taking the right steps. And then often it's asked the question of, do you think it's right for me to ask him that? Stand shwaya. Don't rush it. Wait. It's still early stages. And I want to keep you in mind and keep you in track. But And then when it comes to your parents, then it'll flow quite easily. Sometimes there are a few hiccups here and there, but it'll flow quite easily. I remember Pope Shenouda was asked the same question. He said, when do you know it is right that you're entering into this relationship? And if this is God's will, he said, you know, the traffic lights, you got red and green, okay? If your father in confession says go, and your parents say, there's a red light, say no, don't go, just wait, okay? Retreat a bit. And vice versa. If they say both go and no, you can't go. If it's both red lights, then you know what, Tabanyani, maybe it's not the right person. Pray about it, and then maybe retreat. If you get a green light from your confessional father and from your parents, then you know for a fact that he gets them a little better. Okay, then take the required steps moving forward towards in this relationship. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Abuna. Does anybody else have any questions? We're way over time, but I know some people might have some dying questions. 3, 2. Yeah, no? Okay. Abuna, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Abuna. Thank you.
شكرا يا ابونا سوريال، متشكرين جدا على محبة قدسك وتعبك معانا. We are so happy بجد ان قدسك معانا النهارده، ونتمنى طبعا ان يعني تكررها قدسك، ناخد بركة قدسك دايما مع الشباب ومعانا، دي حاجة تفرحنا كلنا ابونا سوريال بجد.
Please pray for us, Abuna, وحنني Abuna, and it was a blessing to see Otsek and to see a beautiful youth there, Abuna.
ربنا يخليك يا سوريال، انا اكتر صدقني يا ابونا، وما تنسانيش في صلواتك دايما قدسك، يعني ريمبر ودايما بتصلي، والولاد الشباب دول طبعا قدسك ما تنساهمش، دول ولادك برضه يا ابونا، ودايما تفتكرنا في صلواتك.
Abuna, I have to say that Mary Otsekani is very dear to us here in Cormac. Abuna, that's the beautiful example of how Rabina connect people from one side of the world to the other, you know, and that's a beautiful story. God bless them and protect them. Abuna, thank you so much for your time.
ابونا ماري، يمكن اقول لقدسك حاجه، احنا كسبنا ميري من استراليا بصراحه. يعني احنا بجد احنا يعني فعلا we are lucky ان عندنا يعني ميري في ايرلند، يعني she's amazing servant بجد. بجد لا بجد ما تتخيلش قدسك الولاد الصغيرين والشباب والخدام بيحبوها قد ايه، فعشان كده بقول فعلا احنا we are lucky، ودي بتعلمنا بتورينا قد ايه ان the service in Australia is very strong من اللي احنا شفناه من ميري بجد. ابونا ربنا يبارك في خدمتكم يا ابونا.
Abuna Otsek, we hear a lot of great stories also from overseas. Abuna, we would love to meet Otsek with your beautiful youth there, Father. Come when COVID leaves us, Father, we'll come and show you the Aborigines and the boomerang, Father, the boomerang, huh? and the three sisters and the Harbour Bridge, and I'll teach you some words of in very slang. G'day, mate, and how's it going? And you know. Put meat on the barbie, حاجة زي كده. بس أبونا يعني, and then hopefully Abuna, we get a chance to come and see you in Ireland, okay? And then I'll come and say to be sure, and all these beautiful different expressions of the Bible.
ربنا يخليك يا سوريال، شكرا محبة قدسك، وقدسك تباركنا تصلي لنا ناخد بركة قدسك.
أنا صليت ربنا بليز قدسك صلي لنا بليز.
ربنا يخليك. طب أحللنا أبونا. بسم الله والابن والروح القدس واحد امين. نشكرك يا رب يا يسوع المسيح لكل حال ومن اجل كل حال في كل حال. بنشكرك يا رب على محبتك، وبنطلب منك يا رب يسوع انك تذكر كل اولادك الشباب وتذكر كل اولادك في كل مكان في العالم. ارفع يا رب عن العالم الوباء، واذكر يا رب كل الاباء، اذكر كل الرعاة والرعاية يا رب يسوع. اذكر ابونا سوريال وعوضه عن تعب محبته معانا. شفاعة الست العذراء، شفاعة جميع القديسين. Make us worthy to pray thankfully our Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name, the kingdom come. اتفضل صرفنا ابونا سوريال، اتفضل قدسك. ابونا سوريال اتفضل قدسك البركه.
Sorry, Father. Abuna, can you hear me, Father?
قدسك
Okay.
تباركنا في الاخر يا ابونا اتفضل قدسك.
بعد إذنك. Okay. Now the love of God the Father, the grace of the begotten Son Jesus Christ, and the gift and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit go in peace. May the peace of the Lord be with you always. Hallelujah, and pray for us.
نحل فمك حللنا ابونا نحل فم قدسك.
Thank you, Abuna, again, on behalf of you. Thank you so much, Abuna. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Abuna, for joining
Very
us.
much,
I hope
Abuna.
you have a lovely day, Abuna. Waiting for you in Ireland soon.
One day, inshallah. Hallelujah.
يحل فمك يا ابونا صلواتك يا ابونا.
Thank you so much, Abuna. So guys, just to remind you as well, our meeting next week, and let me stop the recording. Has the recording stopped? No. Okay.